please.
And the Emmy goes to...
And the Grammy goes to...
And the Oscar goes to...
And the Tony goes to...
When you're a global superstar, celebrating is easy and typically very public. But what about those of us who aren't in the limelight? How do we celebrate those more personal wins that can be just as important and meaningful? For instance, starting that novel that's been rattling around your head for years, getting that long sought-after promotion, completing that certificate program or degree, or even dragging yourself off the couch and getting in those 5,000 steps. Sadly, studies show many women don't celebrate their personal victories, leading us to undervalue ourselves and our accomplishments. But know this, there is tremendous power in celebrating ourselves, our goals, and our achievements. For one woman, the journey to celebrating a lifetime of accomplishments began in a small dance studio in New York City when she was just a little girl.
You've planted your dreams. It's time to release. No more fear. No more fear. Surrender in her. Trust you won't fall. Time to fly. Time to fly.
Welcome to the Aquitaine Project. I'm Marlo Mead, your host, guide, and fellow traveler on a journey where together we draw upon the lessons, wisdom, and experiences of women past and present. Women I call my bright lighters. Each episode I'll bring to light their stories, voices, and legacies, and share with you lessons we can use in our own lives each and every day. Shining their light from different centuries, cultures, and corners of the earth, they light the way, making it possible for us to create our own light and shine it forward. So if you're ready to meet this episode's bright lighter and learn a little, grow a little, laugh a little, and shine a lot, stick around.
Free your soul.
To paraphrase the great Salvador Dali, with a personal twist, every morning when I wake up, I experience an exquisite joy, the joy of being Yolanda Marlo Mead. And I ask myself, what wonderful things is this Yolanda Marlo Mead going to accomplish today? We are all unique beings with different abilities, talents, goals, and dreams. And with all of this uniqueness comes the opportunity to celebrate our wonderful selves each and every day. Opportunities most of us pass up, frankly, ignore or discount. Especially we women. We have this annoying habit of keeping ourselves small, playing down our accomplishments and achievements, glossing over our success and underrating our gifts, talents, and experiences, hiding our light under a bushel, as the old saying goes. I know, I used to do it too. Still do at times. My younger self would always deflect compliments and positive feedback, whether about my looks, overcoming my difficult family history, if I did a good job at work on a project, or if I hosted a fabulous dinner party for friends and family. Really, I used to hate it. Compliments and praise made me feel awkward and self-conscious on the inside, while on the outside I would smile and demur and say things like, thanks, but it's not me, I just have great genetics, or lots of kids had a much tougher childhood than I did, or it was a team effort, knowing full well I put in 95% of the work to make sure that project was a success. And then there's the classic, oh, it was nothing, after shopping, cooking, and preparing for hours to make sure the dinner party went off without a hitch. Whatever the case might have been, I didn't relish the idea of standing out, of being noticed, of being special. Well, not today, sisters. Now that I've grown into my self-worth, I take personal satisfaction and pride in the big and small things I've accomplished. whether on a daily basis or over my lifetime. So, today we learn to celebrate who we are, what we do, and why it matters from one of the most accomplished women in the entertainment business, the one and only Rita Moreno. Actor, dancer, singer, and activist inspires us to celebrate our work, our lives, and ourselves. Don't wish to be normal, wish to be yourself to the hilt. Find out what you're best at and develop it and hopscotch your weaknesses. Wish to be great at whatever you are. Lois McCaster Bujold. In 1936, 5-year-old Rosalita and her mother immigrated to New York City from Puerto Rico. At a young age, Rosalita began taking dance lessons. By the age of 9, she had her first performance dancing at a nightclub in Greenwich Village. Throughout her early teens, she would perform at nightclubs around New York City, often going out by herself. At 13, she was doing Spanish-language voiceovers and acting in plays on Broadway. In the 1950s, Rosalita was spotted at a dance recital by a talent agent who recommended her to MGM Studios. MGM signed her on the spot to a 7-year contract. Once she had arrived in Hollywood, the studio decided she needed a new name. So, Rosalita became Rita Moreno, taking the last name of her stepfather, Edward Moreno, and the first name of the movie star, Rita Hayworth. Tragically, and not uncommon for the times, early in her Hollywood career she was raped by her agent, and like most up-and-coming young naive actresses, she continued working with him because he was the only one helping her with her career. To make matters worse, the movie studio continuously cast her in any ethnic minority role they needed filled. She played a Polynesian in one movie, a Native American in another, and an Egyptian in a different movie. And if any of you remember the movie The King and I with Yul Brynner and Deborah Carr, Rita plays the slave girl Tuptim. Now, The King and I is one of my favorite musicals, and I've watched it at least a dozen times, and I had no idea Rita Moreno was even in the movie. As one can imagine, these experiences had devastating effects on Rita's self-esteem, self-worth, and confidence. It's fair to say she was at a low point in her young career. In 1954, when she was 22 years old, Marlon Brando walked into her life, and for the next 8 years, she and Brando would have a steamy, contentious on-again, off-again love affair. During the relationship, Rita became pregnant. She was pressured by Brando, who was married at the time, to get an illegal abortion that almost killed her. By 1960, Rita's lack of self-worth, identity conflicts, dealing with the shame she felt for needing to take on ethnically demeaning roles, career frustration, and bad boy Marlon Brando became too much to bear, and she attempted to take her own life. Okay, a bit of a personal rant for a minute. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you know we've encountered several women along the Aquitaine Project journey who were and are very successful, talented, accomplished women in their own right, and whose serious self-esteem issues drastically affected their careers and their lives. Inspiring women and girls to develop a stronger sense of self is a key aspect of the Aquitaine Project and why I feel the need to share these women's stories. Self-respect, self-esteem, and self-love are crucial to our survival as women and have a direct bearing on our ability to celebrate ourselves. More about that in a bit. Okay, end of rant. As for Rita, she would eventually find her way through her dark nights of the soul and emerge wiser, stronger, and shine brighter than ever. But it would take a while. In 1961, Rita refocused her energy on her career and won the part of Anita in the film adaptation of the Broadway musical West Side Story, for which she won the 1962 Academy Award and Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actress, making her the first Latina and only female Puerto Rican to ever win an Oscar. Despite her success and proven talents, Rita continued to get offered limited stereotypical ethnic girl roles which she no longer wanted to accept. Fed up with Hollywood, she focused her career on stage acting, working in theaters across London and New York. During the 60s, she became active in the civil rights movement and joined a delegation of Hollywood stars to attend the 1963 March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, at which Martin Luther King Jr. made his iconic I Have a Dream speech. It was this experience that ignited Rita's activist spirit, which is still burning bright today. Rita eventually got married and had a daughter and worked constantly doing what she loved, performing. But it would be 7 years before she set foot back in Hollywood to make another movie. The 70s was a banner decade for Rita. From 1971 to 77, Rita starred in the ensemble cast of The Electric Company, a children's show to foster literacy. Who remembers this? Hey, you guys! I sure do. She also won 2 Emmys for her television work on The Muppets and The Rockford Files, a Grammy for Best Children's Album, and a Tony Award for her stage performance in the Broadway show The Ritz. And she became the first and only Latina ever to EGOT. What's an EGOT, you ask? Well, in order to be an EGOT winner, you must win an Emmy, a Grammy, Oscar, and a Tony Award. Only 3 women actors have accomplished this in entertainment history. Right on, Rita. In the 1980s to the 2000s, she continued to work in TV, movies, on Broadway, and as an advocate for women's rights, social equality in Hollywood and around the world, supporting her homeland and embracing her Puerto Rican heritage, and speaking up about the importance of mental health. In 2000, Rita was awarded the Library of Congress Living Legends Award. In 2004, she was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President George W. Bush. And in 2009, Rita was awarded the National Medal of Arts by President Barack Obama. Over the past decade, she has continued pursuing her passions, working in theater, television, performing concerts, giving talks and lectures, and doing fundraising. You name it, she pretty much does it. Just last year, at the age of 89, Rita joined the cast of Steven Spielberg's remake of West Side Story as Valentina, the widowed wife of Doc, the shopkeeper from the original film. She's also an executive producer on the project. Talk about coming full circle in one's life. When asked about her mother, Rita's daughter Fernanda said, and I quote, "She really is a born performer. She doesn't have to try at all. It just happens. That's her substance. That's what she needs. It feeds her soul. It feeds her energy." End quote. Rita Moreno's accomplishments are definitely worth celebrating, and while being celebrated by our peers, our fans, friends, and family is a wonderful feeling, celebrating ourselves creates a sense of well-being we can only achieve from within. Like many of us, Rita went through some pretty tough times to get where she is today, and at 90 years old, she is still celebrating all the things that make her uniquely Rita. A career that spans 7 decades and is still going strong, a life of lowest lows and highest highs, awards, accolades, achievements to fill a lifetime. A woman who has come to know her value, acknowledge her accomplishments, embrace who she is, and loves and celebrates herself. Let's follow Rita's lead, shall we? Rita Moreno once said, "The best thing I ever did for myself, other than having my daughter, who I absolutely adore, is love myself. That's easier said than done, but I can say with no compunction whatsoever that I think I'm swell." Thanks for that great piece of advice, Rita. Okay, be honest. How many of you out there think you're pretty swell? Go ahead, raise your hands. Now, how often do you celebrate yourself and your accomplishments? Another show of hands, please. Well, I believe the capacity we have to like and love ourselves is directly related to our ability to celebrate ourselves. And if I'm being honest, I, like Rita, think I'm pretty swell too. I've come to see the great value in celebrating both the big and the small things in my life. Now, celebrating the big things come pretty easy, like getting a new job or a promotion, being invited to speak at events, or when I got my master's degree. That was a big one. I celebrated for a week, climbing my first 14,000-foot mountain, finally starting up the Aquitaine Project podcast. Hey, which reminds me, I still owe myself a fancy dinner for completing season 1. But what about the little everyday things? I'm getting better at celebrating those too. Many times when we think of self-celebration, or self-abration as I call it, we think about bragging, boasting, or being self-absorbed. That's not it at all. Self-abration is all about accepting, encouraging, and empowering ourselves. It's honoring our individual story and being grateful for who we are and how we show up for ourselves. And when we can show up for ourselves, it makes it easier to show up for others. And the best part is we can celebrate ourselves anytime or any place for any reason. How great is that? I say adding more celebration into our lives is a fantastic idea. But how do we get to a place where we feel comfortable high-fiving ourselves, buying ourselves flowers, treating ourselves to our favorite whatever? For Rita Moreno, it took 8 years of therapy to get to that place. I, for one, think the right type of therapy can be a wonderful tool in helping us improve our self-esteem issues and learn to love and appreciate ourselves. Simply put, it's pretty hard to celebrate how great you are if you don't believe you're great. A number of studies have found that celebrating brings significant benefits into our lives, including improved physical health and better coping strategies. People who take time to reflect on and celebrate their successes are generally more optimistic, take better care of themselves, and tend to be less stressed. In a 2015 Psychology Today article titled Celebration Time, a Cocktail Each Executive Should Know How to Mix, Judith E. Glaser, CEO, social anthropologist, and author, explains how feel-good chemicals in the brain, such as serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins, are released inside the body when we celebrate. Glaser states, when we receive public praise and support, we unlock these powerful sets of neurochemical patterns that cascade positive chemistry throughout the brain. While the article focuses on work celebrations, the same holds true when we celebrate ourselves. We experience a sense of well-being, excitement, and pride in ourselves and accomplishments. In positive psychology, the process is known as savoring. Noticing, appreciating, and enhancing positive experiences often increases feelings of self-worth and overall life satisfaction. Self-celebration can also help us train our brains to look for the wins and condition us to seek out more wins and focus less on the losses. Instead of paying attention to what we didn't accomplish or what went wrong, celebrating allows us to focus on what is working and all the things we've accomplished. It's important to celebrate both our personal and professional wins, but celebrating things we accomplish in our careers can be a bit intimidating. For many of us, drawing positive attention to ourselves at work can be pretty scary, and sometimes the difference between moving up and staying where we are comes down to celebrating ourselves and not waiting for others to recognize our value. Simple things like creating a brag board or a portfolio of accomplishments, displaying your awards openly, buying yourself a new coffee mug that celebrates how great you are at your job and placing it proudly on your desk. Sometimes you have to be assertive, own your own destiny, and promote yourself through celebrating. There's a great article on Thrive Global that offers 10 great reasons to celebrate your success. Check out the link on this episode's podcast page. It comes down to this: the better we feel about ourselves, the more likely we are to self-celebrate, and the more we celebrate ourselves, the better we feel. As I said earlier, celebrating the big wins is pretty easy, but it's also the small wins we achieve that we should acknowledge and appreciate. Those small victories are opportunities to count our blessings and be grateful. They're also a chance to reflect on how much we've accomplished. Here's an example. Let's say you have a goal to get healthier, and for the next 30 days, you're going to get up early so you can work out and eat a healthy breakfast to start your day. Fantastic! I see 3 opportunities to celebrate here. 1. You set a goal for yourself. Yay! 2. You've committed to waking up early Monday through Friday to give yourself more time to get your workout in. Outstanding! 3. You make yourself a healthy breakfast and start your day off feeling great. Good for you! Now, you don't have to wait until you've reached your 30-day goal to be proud of yourself. You could and should celebrate every step along the way. Every day you wake up early, look yourself in the mirror and congratulate yourself. And after every workout, put a little star on your calendar or record it in your workout app. Yes, it can be a little gold star if you like. On the weekends, you can celebrate by sleeping in. I sure would. At the end of each week, you could treat yourself to a massage or have fun doing some of your favorite activities. And at the end of the month, you can do it up big. Curl up in your favorite chair, grab your favorite blanket, treat yourself to a few of your favorite snacks, and binge watch your favorite shows well past midnight. Now that's my kind of celebration. I know this may sound simple or even silly, but I assure you it's not. The reality is the more we celebrate the little wins, the easier they are to maintain and the more our brains want that feel-good feeling of accomplishment. And the better we feel about ourselves, makes us want to keep achieving and celebrating, thus making the bigger wins that much more attainable. And as Oprah Winfrey says, the more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is in life to celebrate. Now, I've personally learned to really appreciate celebrating the small wins. For example, every time I finish a podcast episode, I take a deep breath, give my favorite guy a high five, and treat myself to my favorite candy, a Reese's. So, rest assured, if you're listening to this episode, there's one less Reese's in the world. In addition to Reese's and my podcast celebrations, here are a few other ways I celebrate the small things in my life. Buying myself a new hat or fun earrings when I have a great hair day. It makes no sense, but that's okay. Treating myself to popcorn and a movie after turning in a work project ahead of schedule and under budget. And you can bet I'll be celebrating with a big mug of hot chocolate when I finish decorating for Christmas. I decorate a lot, so I might need 2 mugs. And at times, I just simply celebrate being alive by watching a sunset, playing my favorite songs over and over and over again, dancing in my kitchen, hanging out with my favorite people, or staring up at the night sky and being grateful for all the wonderful joys in my life. At 90 years old, Rita Moreno, one of the world's most accomplished and celebrated entertainers, celebrates herself and her life by setting up bird baths and birdhouses in her yard because she loves to watch those little birds playing, watching her favorite TV shows, doing crossword puzzles and playing Scrabble with her daughter, wearing fabulous jewelry and dressing up in fun, colorful clothes. There are so many ways to celebrate ourselves. My ways are unique to me, just as Rita's are to her. Now it's your turn. How can you find your own unique ways to celebrate yourself and all the wonderful big and small wins in your life? You playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightening about shrinking so others won't feel insecure around you. As you let your own light shine, you indirectly give others permission to do the same. Marianne Williams. Rita Moreno boasts one of the longest careers in Hollywood. Defying her humble upbringing, personal traumas, and professional setbacks, she became a celebrated and award-winning actress, singer, and dancer, and she uses her voice to make a change in the world. Along the way, she learned a very valuable lesson, one we can all take to heart. Not everyone is going to like you. What matters most is that you like and value yourself. It took Rita decades to learn to love herself, to appreciate her own talents, to recognize her worth and stand boldly on the stage that is her life and celebrate her magnificently unique self. She refuses to play small. I don't think she even knows how. She celebrates her many awards and accolades by continuing to do what she does best, perform. She celebrates the many lessons she's learned by sharing them with others so they can benefit from her experiences. She celebrates her heritage by being proud of her Puerto Rican roots and advocating for diversity in the world of entertainment and the world at large. She honors her age by keeping physically and mentally active, and she celebrates herself by seeking out the happiness and joy in life. To be able to celebrate ourselves is a very special kind of joy. Rita Moreno wakes up happy and celebrates a life well lived every day. Just ask her and she'll tell you she is one of the most joyous people she's ever met. So, in honor of this extraordinary bright lighter who has lit up stage and screen for more than 70 years and reminds us to find the joy in who we are and what we do, and to shine brightly in the process, let's challenge ourselves to go out of our way to celebrate ourselves and all the big and small wins we rack up each and every day. Why I love this woman. She was just a girl who decided to go for it. Ageless, timeless, super talented, with a voracious appetite for life and a career that continues to inspire generations, this woman turned adversity, racism, sexism, personal trauma, and professional failure and success into a celebration of her life. The triple threat of Hollywood, award-winning actress, singer, and dancer, Rita Moreno, sang and danced her way into my heart as Anita in West Side Story. I must have been around 9 or 10 the first time I watched West Side Story, and while everyone gushed over Maria, my eyes were glued to Anita. Her energy, her defiance, her demand for respect and dignity. Anita was strong and proud and larger than life, and as I came to learn, was the complete opposite of the real-life Rita Moreno who played her so convincingly. The year before landing the part of Anita, Rita had tried to kill herself. Her life was in turmoil, her self-esteem in the gutter, her career a series of ethically demeaning brown-skinned girl roles. She felt worthless, angry, and powerless. Then along came Anita, the part of a lifetime that Rita Moreno credits with changing her life forever. Funny how portraying a strong, proud Puerto Rican woman turned her into a strong, proud Puerto Rican woman. Fast forward 60 years, and Rita has been celebrated as one of the greatest entertainers of all time for her contributions to the arts, and regarded as a tireless advocate for children's literacy, women's rights, and social equality. Yet, among all the awards and accolades, the praise and recognition, I found 3 shining gems of wisdom. If you don't love yourself, who will? If you don't respect and value yourself, who will? And if you don't celebrate yourself, who will? Rita Moreno is the bright lighter who inspires me to be proud of who I am and what I've accomplished, to celebrate my life every day, and to shine in the spotlight of my amazingness. To learn more about the one and only Rita Moreno, click on her portrait on the podcast episode page at www.theaquitaneproject.com. There you'll find links about her amazing life and career, as well as resources on ways to add more self-celebration into your own life. Let's connect on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Okay, my bright lighters, celebrate yourselves loud and proud so your sisters can celebrate with you.